Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, Ms. Gagauri, I've got a number of questions for you since we've been watching this since 2012 from afar and shaking our heads on it because we're seeing this backslide and we don't really understand it. I mean, you're a country of a little under 4 million people, and it seems like there's at least a significant movement toward embracing the Russian form of government and the Russian repression. We just don't understand it. I mean, you got your freedom from Russia, and why the country would be drifting back that way. We look at Georgia, and we compare it to the three Baltics, and those are small countries too. Two of them at 1.5 million, and one at 2.5 million. And I'll tell you what, those people they come to see us all the time. They are united. They are firm. They are afraid. They want our help. They don't want anything to do with Russia in any way, shape, or form. And yet, here you have Georgia, who were visited by an invasion from Russia, which took 2 of its territories and promised to leave and still aren't. They're occupying the territories. Why in the world is there, I mean, you're always going to get a handful of nuts, but why would you have these significant numbers of people who seem to want to drift back to the communist and socialist way of life that Russia had? Help us understand this.
Thank you for the question. So I think that in spite of this disinformation that we observe for years now, the majority of Georgian citizens support Georgia's integration in the EU and NATO. And these are the official numbers. So what happens is that we talked here about the particular laws, right? But before the laws are introduced, there is this very heavy disinformation campaign. And there you see the messages that were invented by the Russians in 2012. For instance, that these liberal groups are against the family values or the national interest of the country. That all these people who are working for the NGO community, they hate everything national, right? So I mean that the NGOs are only promoting the LGBT rights and they care about the LGBT rights and all these kind of things. So this is very heavy. They are playing with the hearts and minds of Georgian people. At the same time, you always see in the pro-government and anti-West media in Georgia that in the West there are problems. There is destabilization. People live a terrible life there, like in Russia. That also there is also some trends which is against the family values, and they don't care about their families, their children. I mean, this is everything happening all the time for years, and then people are raising, so it's not that the government tells them that, the West is bad, but with this information, they try to persuade them to raise the question, so whether they want to go there or not. But again, this is a not big number of people. I would say that the majority still supports the...
I hope you're right. In today's world with the information available to us, there's always disinformation out there. And we in America believe that if you put everything on the table and all the facts are there, smart people, or even semi-smart people, will pretty quickly realize that democracy is a whole lot better than authoritarianism. So what you're talking about, we see here, that kind of disinformation, but its effect is pretty de minimis. Well, you give me hope when you tell me that the vast majority want to do the right thing. I will tell you that we will be watching the elections next month, and Senator Shaheen and I were greatly impressed with the elections that we saw. We weren't the only observers. Obviously, there were ones from all over the world, a lot of them from Europe, that were watching those elections. And I have to tell you, those elections were about as straight up as I've ever seen, and I've been in lots of elections. I've run 36 times myself, so I know what they're like. And I was impressed. I really was impressed with the way they were held. If what you say is true about the Georgian people and what they want, they're going to get an opportunity in October to throw the rascals out and take a hold of their own future. And we'll be watching closely, praying for you, and hope it works. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Shaheen.